If you're from the UK and were born in the 80s, 90s, or even possibly the early 2000s, you quite possibly heard of a show called Red Dwarf. So Red Dwarf is a sci-fi sitcom that originally aired in the 80s, ran through the 90s, came back on a few separate occasions in the 2000s. Apart from being extremely funny, Red Dwarf uses clever sci-fi, thriller, and sometimes even serious plots which have the cast travelling through time, space, and even dimensions. For everyone, in a nutshell, the main character Lister wakes up deep in space after being in stasis for over 3 million years. It's due to an accident killing the entire crew, leaving him stranded on a mining vessel deep in space, his only company being the ship's computer Holly, a hologram of his bunkmate Rimmer, an ancestor of his cat, a robot they find called Crichton. So this is all whilst they try to get back to Earth in one piece. The mostly male-based cast consisted of Lister, who's Craig Charles, Rimmer, who's Chris Barry, Cat, who's Danny John Jules, so Danny Jules really, Crichton, who's David Llewellyn, and Holly, who was played by Norman, or is actually played by Hattie in, post-season 2. Apart from the main cast, you'd also have reoccurring characters such as the Captain, Kachansky, Lister's original 3 or 4 grotesque friends, and it was directed by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. So today I'm going to talk about the first episode, which aired in the BBC in 1988 and became a staple of UK comedy. So the first episode's called The End. So before the accident killing the entire crew, we meet our 2 main characters, Lister and Rimmer. They're going about their daily work duties as technicians. They're simultaneously bickering constantly. They both work as technicians, whilst Rimmer claims to be higher than Lister. Rimmer takes his job way too serious. Lister couldn't care less. His contrast plays a part to why they don't get along, with Rimmer despising Lister for his general slobbiness, and Lister despising Rimmer for being a knob really, being a snitch. The fact they have to bunk with each other makes the dynamic even funnier. I love the general set and the way the characters play on each other. It's clear the actors bonded very quickly on the set. It was filmed in Acton for the first 2 seasons and switched to Manchester for the filming for season 3 onwards. So after meeting the crew, we see Lister pouring some milk for his stowaway kitten that he's had hidden away. It's in hopes to take the cat to Fiji after he saved enough money from working. The only issue is, it's prohibited, and of course he'll eventually get caught. The captain finds out, gives him 2 options: either give the cat up or spend the rest of the voyage in stasis whilst losing all his wages. So like a man, he opts for the stasis because he couldn't really bear dealing with the cat being hurt. We see a scene of Rimmer taking a failing exam in a ridiculous fashion. You sometimes feel sorry for him as he thinks he knows it all, but he actually knows nothing. He's a teacher's pet and the opposite of Lister. Not that Lister is smart, Rimmer just seems to have a rotten personality. So he draws the entire exam answers all over his body, but he sweats it all off. You see a scene of Rimmer getting carted out the exam. You see Lister simultaneously being dragged into the stasis pod to be frozen until he gets home. So with a wave, Lister is frozen. It cuts to the pod door being opening and Lister leaving. Little do you know, it's been 3 million years. It's not actually been the couple of months or year to get back to Earth. We see Lister leaving the pod to loud sirens and ship's computer, repeatedly telling him that the crew is dead. Lister walks around the ship aimlessly. He finds piles of white dust. So he's so sloppy of a human, he dips his fingers in and repeatedly tastes it, not knowing it's the remains of the previous life that was on board.
That's Todd Hunter.
No, that's second technician Rimmer.
Oh yeah? I didn't recognise him without his report book. What was Rimmer doing in the drive room?
He was explaining to the captain why he hadn't sealed the drive plate properly.
So wait.
So Lister's in for a huge shock once he realises the only crew remaining was a hologram of his dead crewmate Rimmer.
Hello, Lister. Long time no see.
Rimmer, you're a hologram?
Yes, that's because I'm dead.
So our next character, Cat. So Cat's basically a human cat that's evolved from the original cat from 3 million years away. It managed to survive by hiding away. The cats originally split into 2 groups. One half died and the other half went into space to look for the promised land, which is Fiji, but they're the wrong coordinates, so God knows where they are. So the cat's the only one left. He basically overdresses, loves himself, and acts like a typical feline.
Yeah, I know that.
He evolved from cats. His ancestors were cats. He's descended from cats. He is a cat.
The first episode is a precursor to what the first season will entail. We go from thousands of the crew to mere a couple in a blink of an eye. Stranded from Earth, the human, computer, hologram and cat will go on many journeys through time, space and dimensions to try and get a safe way back to Earth. The show spans for 13 seasons. They all sort of consist on 6 episodes. They did sort of go to season 5, stop for a couple of years, season 7 to 9, stop for a couple of years, and then in the 2000s they came back. So I've made this episode for episode 1, just a brief sort of what happens, because it's so interesting to me. If you did enjoy this, just obviously drop a like, let me know. But yep, it's been your boy, Respect.